until the cows come home. But if you're not eating, you're not going to grow. So. I would say, in my experience, what I try to do early on is, you know how when you first start bodybuilding, you read a magazine, you see a guy like Dennis James, you see a guy like Ronnie Coleman or something like that. You see how they train, right? And you want to do that training workout. Well, just like how, a person that weighs, maybe 150 pounds can't bench press 500 pounds, you have to go slow, right? To get up to that point. And you may not get there. Well, for some reason, when people read the magazine and they see us eating large amounts of food, they think that they can automatically just say, I'm going to eat 5,000 calories today, when their body is just not used to it. So what you have to do is start smaller. And the word small in bodybuilding, we all hate. So that was something that I tried to realize early on, is that, okay, this guy may eat 10 ounces, but I'm going to start off maybe at 6 and do, 7 meals of 6 ounces of protein, and then eventually my metabolism, gets, fired up. Maybe I do a little bit of cardio in the off season, making sure that I'm staying hydrated, because that'll help your metabolism too, processing all the foods out, things like that. Not getting backed up, you know what I mean, like being able to go to the restroom. But, okay. But you got to make sure that, you start small, and eventually your body will acclimate. Just like how your body acclimates to the weight training, your body has to acclimate to the supplements, your body has to acclimate to the amount of food you take in. And eventually, you'll start to realize that, okay, I started off at 2,500 calories, and then try that for a month, then the 3,000, then the 3,500, then the 4,000. Now you're on, because if you were to do 2,000 and then want to do 5,000 that next week, it's going to be very difficult to eat all that food. And you're going to become very bloated, very sick. And you're going to say, oh man, this is a chore. But if you do it in small increments, your body will adjust slowly. And then eventually, with the amount of cardio and things like that, your body's going to be revving hot. Like I'm sure I can speak for these guys and say, like, the minute you start eating clean and do a little bit of cardio, stay consistent, every time we ingest something, your body's on fire again. But in order to get there, you have to start small.
Can I say something real quick? Yeah, sure. Because I'm looking through the audience here, and I see a lot of girls and guys drooling over Larissa right here. And I can tell, I'll point you all out if you want me to. So this is a seminar. I want you guys to understand, there's always, and I've been experienced it since I first did my first ever seminar. There's people, they all have questions in their mind, but they just don't ask. I don't know why. Listen, get the questions out. She's sitting right here, and I know you have a question, so don't be afraid to ask, because she's really nice, and it's the same with us. So there might be some questions that sound stupid to some people, but listen, there's no such thing as stupid questions, okay? So let it out, let it out.
I've got a question. Actually, it's
for who?
Yeah, it's for those of you that are answering, and especially for Larissa REIS, because it would be fun to hear a woman's perspective on this. Because we all know that health is a pretty big issue in bodybuilding. And how much does it fill up in your thoughts every day?
What was that again?
In your daily life, how much do you think about your health?
Well, yeah, I think 24 hours I think about health. Who doesn't want to be healthy, especially in these days. You see a lot of people sick, Food is the biggest drug on the planet. So I think everybody think about to be healthier, to eat clean, organic food. I think it's 24 hours.
Like Larissa said, we all watch what we eat up here. And, for myself, I can probably speak about these guys. We do a lot of traveling on the road, fly in different countries. So we are exposed to a lot of
different cultures, climates, whatever. I rarely get sick. I look after myself in and out, inside out. That means that, you know, inside out, I got, you know, look after my doctor, everything, everything is above board. I make sure that I'm in this sport for the longevity of things. You know, with everything else, you know, basically from internally to externally, I'm injury-free and want to remain that way. So again, I think longevity is a lot of things that some bodybuilders, that you guys need to think about. A lot of people want to get to where we are fast. There's no shortcut. There's genetics involved, of course, but you know, we've all put our work in, regardless, years of work. And for me to sit here is a blessing to be amongst, you know, three great athletes that have seen the world well before, you know, I was even thinking about being a pro. So that said, you know, longevity is something that I knew, and lucky to have Neil Hill next to me as my nutritionalist, has been advocating in me since I was, you know, got into this sport. So he's, as soon as we do shows, I have a rest. We don't push. And I think that's the reason why I've got to where I am as fast as I have, injury-free.
Yeah, I would agree with Larissa and Dennis. You know, being a bodybuilder, I mean, it's a lifestyle. You know, my main goal was to feel good and look good. That's it. And like Flex said, you know, inside and out. So for me, you know, it's not just about the weightlifting. It's not just about the diet. It's definitely about, you know, like what Flex said. Anytime you start a nutrition program or a training program, it always usually says consult physician, and usually no one ever does that. No one ever, because they feel that they're healthy. Well, sometimes people may have injuries and that they don't know about. So for me, it's always to get a full physical, to make sure that everything is working properly, being in tune with your body. You know, for me, not too long ago, I noticed that my strength was going down a little bit, like on presses. And I thought, gosh, like it feels a little weird. Well, I had a nerve impingement in my hand, and I didn't even know it, but I knew it. So I ended up talking to my doctor, who actually is an acupuncturist, and you know, he did different therapies and stuff. And for me, you know, traveling around the world, like what Flex said, I mean, it's not always good on our bodies. You know, sitting in a little tight space like this, you know, on a 10-hour flight, you know, going up and down in elevation. But for me, it's just maintaining, you know, a good wholeness with myself, making sure that, you know, I am taking care of my joints and my ligaments, paying attention to, you know, making sure that I'm doing a colon cleanse after a show, making sure that I'm drinking enough water, making sure that, you know, I'm stretching. A lot of bodybuilders, we don't talk about those things. Like, oh, we just talk about lifting. We don't talk about stretching and things like that. You know, I've done, you know, I can admit, I've done a yoga class. I've done, you know, I try to work on a Pilates reformer and different exercises, because I still want to stay athletic. I still want to be healthy for the long run, because when I retire from this sport, I want to be able to do other things. But, you know, yeah, health and fitness all the way, 24/7, 365 days a year, for sure. You know, but in order to do what we do, we have to not just pay attention to what's going on inside the gym, but we have to make sure that we are in tune with our bodies in every aspect of what we do. So everything that we do has a purpose. Everything. You know, the amount of sleep, the amount of training, the type of supplements, the type of protein, carbs, everything has a purpose. And if it doesn't fulfill that purpose, then we don't do it.
Okay, this is to Dennis. What other business ventures are you in outside of bodybuilding? I don't know if it was your gym, but you trained in Thailand, and I visited that gym, and they said it was your gym, but I didn't know what they mean. But do you have any other business ventures outside of bodybuilding?
Yes, I have a few, but it's not a gym. I used to own a gym in Thailand, and I left Thailand back in 2004, so, you know, and I don't think it's smart to run a business in a country if you're not even there. So I was fortunate to find a buyer before I was planning on, you know, actually the last couple of years I was there, I didn't own the gym anymore. You know, but I was still representing it because I built it, you know, I had all the machines done, you know, there was nothing, because there was nothing available to buy, so we had to basically copy all the machines. And then the only stuff we got was the cardio machine. But like I said, I don't own the gym anymore. I have a business in Europe that imports and exports nutritional supplements. You know what I mean? And this is what I've been doing this for quite some time now, I think like 6, 7 years. And so you can't stand still, you know, because you have to understand that bodybuilding is a career, and the career will get to an end sooner or later. You know, there's many different factors that play a role. You can get injured. Phil is Mr. Olympia right now. He can go to the gym tomorrow and tear his quad. It's all possible. We don't want to talk about this. You know what I mean? But things happen, you know, and things happen, and that's why careers can be short. You know, and that's why you want to make sure that, you know, whatever you do, you want to think about your future. You know, if there's some possibilities, you know, to make some money on the side, or, you know, why not do it? And that's the way I feel. I've been doing this for many years, I think that way. Bodybuilding for me was a sport, and it also was a business, you know, and I was fortunate to be living in Thailand all these years, the first 10 years as a pro, or first 9 years as a pro. And as a lot of people here know, that Thailand is very cheap, so it's very cheap to live there. So I was able to save a lot of money while I was over there. That's what I do. So. Do you have any more questions?
Nu kommer lapperne over. Skal vi snuppe en herovre, Stellan? Jeg tror dig, der sidder inde i midten. Du har haft hånd op. Ja. Nej.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
It's for Larissa, but I just want to say to all of you, thank you really so much for coming here. You're inspiring everyone, and for you to come to Denmark. We will come to Las Vegas anytime, but for you to come here to Denmark to inspire us, that's really, really cool. So thank you. Larissa, you mentioned it earlier today, but are you staying in the figure class, or are you moving up to the physique class now?
Yeah, I think things changing now, you know. Figure changed a little bit, so I need to change. So I think next year I'm planning to do physique. This year I'm still gonna try to go to Miss Olympia for my third time. I'm not qualified yet because they changed again this year the rules. So you have to be the winner to be qualified. So I'm planning to do more shows and try to do Olympia for my last time as a figure. And next year I'm going to think more about physique. This is the first year, so I need to be more inspired too, you know. It's a new thing, so I think it's going to be exciting.
And thank you so much for inspiring girls all over the world to change the trend from skinny girls to strong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hvad så, pausen? Har vi tid til mere?
5 minutter endnu.
We got 5 minutes left. Der er i hvert fald 2, der har lappen op her. Der er en, der også kaster håndtegn ned bagved. Vi tager en ung mand her.
I have a question about this health thing. Of course, when you're dieting and preparing for contest, you're strict about food and training and everything. But in the off-season, how do you feel about bulking up, eating a hamburger, drinking a beer, something like that? Are you strict even in the off-season? To all of you guys.
I didn't really get the question.
Well, at the off-season, we're not competing.
Oh, what we do in off-season?
Yeah, you drink beer and eat hamburgers like normal people.
Nah, well, who says it's normal? Hamburgers, yeah, but beer? No, I'm not a beer drinker, you know. I drink maybe 3-4 times a year. I'll have a couple of Coronas. But I do like burgers, you know. Burger King more than McDonald's. But, you know, and off-season doesn't mean, a burger is not always bad, you know. I mean, especially in off-season. So, I mean, I do pick out, you know. I eat much worse food, than, you know, worse than hamburgers, so I do other stuff. Put me right in the hospital and food poisoning and stuff like that. So we know food. So off season we're not that strict, you know. But you know what? It all depends on who you are and how popular you are and how much you have to guest post. Because if you guest post every single week or every other week, you can't eat everything you want and look like a fat slob and get on that stage because people don't want to pay for that. You know what I mean? So you have an obligation to stay somewhat in a decent shape. So you got to stay on a clean diet, you know, and maybe pick out once a week or maybe on a weekend or whatever, you know what I mean? So, but I doubt that anybody is 100%, you know, strict in off season because if you want to grow, you got to have some food, you know. You can't eat the same food that you eat while you diet and grow unless you eat 3-4 times the amount, and that's not possible. So you got to get your calories from somewhere else a little easier.
Pretty much what sums up what Dennis said. You know, I'm from Wales, so of course drinking is a big culture, you know what I'm saying? We like to drink, so I don't drink unless it's a celebration. Then, unlike Dennis said, it's very few and far between. But if I'm gonna have one, I'm probably gonna get 8. So it is what it is. So I pre-warned Phil, if we have a few drinks in Denmark, you better keep a leash on me, buddy, because I'll start wandering off. You know, I'll end up in Amsterdam or something. I don't know.
I think it goes back to what I talked about earlier about having purpose with what your job is. So my goal is to obviously stay, you know, a bodybuilder, no matter if it's off-season or pre-contest. As far as alcohol is concerned, I mean, I think I got most of my alcohol out of my system before I was bodybuilding. You know, playing basketball in college, I drank pretty much every day, so bodybuilding changed all that. Yeah, obviously for celebration, you know, every now and again, you know, I actually like beer, not that, you know, but I'm a Scotch guy actually, so I'd rather have that, but if I can, but most of the time I can't. As far as like, you know, eating burgers and things like that, you know, I think they have their purpose. I mean, I'd rather go to an actual restaurant and have a burger there than maybe fast food. You know, it's a little bit different, you know, a bit different quality of protein, you know, but yeah, you know, I try to make sure, like, before every prep, like for instance, I start my diet in June. I try to make sure that if there's anything I want to do, anything, I get 2 days. So if I want to go out to a nightclub, go dancing, go have a drink, I'll go do that. If I want to go eat, you know, burgers, fries, pizza, all this other stuff, I do it. But then after those 2 days are over, it's done. So that way, you know, I make sure that when I get ready for a contest, I don't have any cravings or anything. But for me, I don't have the luxury of being able to sit at home and pig out like that because, you know, I travel all the time. You know, I travel just under 150,000 miles a year, you know, doing different guest appearances like what we're going to have tonight. So therefore, guys like Stellan aren't going to have me come in, you know, to look like fat slob like DJ said. But, and then there's obviously the internet, right? You know, people can take a photo and it's not so favorable and you don't look like the champ. So for me, it's to make sure that no matter where I'm at, I always look like a bodybuilder, so I got to make sure that if I do have that one cheat meal, that all the other meals are good.
Hvad siger du, Stella? Der er tid til mere?
Lad os tage et enkelt mere. Så kom Laura.
Det bliver din side, jeg har oppe i knæene.
Hey, I just want to know, when you guys do a competition, do you just cruise into the competition on your normal diet, or do you change things up the last 2 days? Do you carb up, or do you stop drinking water, or doing anything like that? Or do you just go by your normal diet and just cruise into the
He wants the actual secret. No. I'm just messing with you. For me, I try... No, for me, it's pretty simple. You know, simple depletion and carve up. Knowing that, for me, it's always knowing that 2 weeks out before a contest, I actually look, you know, how I would like to look on stage, and therefore there is no cruising. You know, a lot of people will say they'll see me at the gym, and I never post progress pics online, but people will say at the gym, okay, just keep what you have right now. And it's like, well, actually I could probably get a little tighter going into the prep, but I don't do anything radical, meaning like a couple days before contest, someone will eat burgers or ice cream or something like that, because my whole goal is to stick with what I know. If I know I look good a week out, why change up really anything? I may have a little bit more carbs, but I've already played around with that during my entire prep. Because I don't want to be one of those guys that is trying to look 5% better and then making a gamble to look 5% better and being 20% worse. Because you see that in a lot of shows. You know, you see a guy that's inconsistent with his conditioning, and it could be a couple of things, but more than likely it's the guy that may have heard something on the internet or from his friend or from, I don't know, he just decided, well, I'll try this because I think I'll look that much better. Well, you probably already look good as it is, so you probably should just stick to what you know, and therefore you don't have to do anything exotic.
For myself, I pretty much kept the same thing going since I was done my first show work with Neil. Of course, there's been adjustments as more muscle has gone on. But pretty much the saying, if it ain't broken, why try and fix it, comes into play. We don't do anything radical. The goal of being ready 2 weeks out has always been the staple. So then you don't have to do anything radical. A lot of people will do crazy things going in the last week. I'm pretty much ready. For me, when I came into the 202 class, I came down from a decently lean 240 something in my off season, and the Grand Prix in early last year was my first show, having taken that year off. So when I tell you I was ready at 208 pounds, I was ready at 208 pounds. So I had to over diet to get into that 202 class. So that's really the only extreme radicals I've ever done in my career, but I was ready 2 weeks out. So again, with what you're saying, my diet is very basic. We do minor changes, no extreme changes, minor changes. So 20 weeks out, add a diet change. Then when you hit the plateau, do another change. A lot of people, when they get this idea of dieting, it's, okay, I've got to start cardio today, I've got to drop my carbs today, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. No, everything's a change, slow change. So then you can see progress, and once you hit that plateau, change it again. And it's nothing crazy. So the last week, that's all I do, like Phil said, is I deplete and then I carb up. And it's very simple, very basic, and there's no extreme measures. I don't do any, as the term is, shit loading or junk loading or whatever like that. It's all clean carbs, and everything is calculated, everything is weighed from the get-go, everything is weighed. And like Phil mentioned earlier, progress pictures throughout. So you can see from the start, 20 weeks out, to a week out, to a few days out, the progress. I even put notes in, like Phil also mentioned, so nothing radical.
Next.
We don't have time anymore, sorry guys. Thanks a lot. Keep it going up. Vi har desværre mere. Det er et fantastisk seminar, synes jeg, med gode spørgsmål. Hvis man vil starte lidt mere, så sidder de herude ved Body Outlet-standen, og der kan man lige gå ud og hilse på og få taget billeder, hvad man nu ellers har lyst til. Thanks a lot, guys. Og de vil selvfølgelig også være her i aften til under showet. Loadcom 2012. Og så er der selvfølgelig også nogle shows i morgen, men det gemmer vi selvfølgelig til i morgen. Og jeg skal sige til atleterne, I skal gå ned og gøre jer klar, så vi er klar til finaler her om en lille times tid, tror jeg det er. Så alle deltagerne i Loadcom 2012, gå ned og gør jer klar. Alle må godt gå ud af salen. Tak.